of this broadcast. President Putin, President Xi Jinping meeting today over in the Middle East over the One Belt, One Road initiative. And I think that's very important to note here, especially in light with all the tensions that are happening in the Middle East. They're meeting about the One Belt, One Road initiative. And why would they be doing that? Well, China and Russia have been strategically putting their own assets into place, preparing for an all-out third world war. And as you've already been hearing rumors going around that there would be weapons that will be used in this war like never seen before, you can definitely count on that. Both the U.S. As well as Russia and China will be implementing weapons that we have never seen on a battlefield before. In fact, I go into some of that over on our Patreon channel, so you definitely want to go into that. I will say, though, that the antimatter weapons, like was seen in Beirut, that Israel used on Beirut, will be used again in this conflict. In fact, when President Biden went to visit with Netanyahu, there was a lot to do with getting permission to be able to use certain types of weaponry that the U.S. has already committed to giving to Israel there. So that's one thing to keep in mind there. And of course, like I said, the situation definitely is getting more tense by the moment there. And so that's something that we wanted to share with you as well. Also on the Lebanese border there with Israel, there has been more fighting going on there, or more exchanges of fighting happening over on that border there. But Hezbollah claiming they're 1,000 times stronger than they've ever been. And of course, we know that Iran has given Hezbollah some very remarkable missiles to be able to use against Israel if in fact they do go to war with one another. And it does appear that that war is definitely an imminent type of situation. I've been told that the war in the Middle East is also going to be used to try to destabilize the economy of the U.S. And like I said, in light of the fact that Putin and Xi Jinping are meeting over the One Belt, One Road initiative.
As the Joint Force Commander, I'm most concerned about the potential for accidents, the way Dr. Ratner explained them. And those accidents could lead to miscalculation. We must prevent these from happening in the theater. So let me be clear. Intercepts happen every day around the world. The vast majority are conducted safely and without incident. And there's no reasons for the intercepts with the PRC in the Indo-Pacific region to be any different. I'm here today because it's the operational commander's #1 responsibility to ensure the safety of our service members, and it's a responsibility I take very seriously. So highlighting these behaviors and ensuring that we can prevent them is a top priority.
Well, in another worrying sign that the U.S. could get pulled into a potential wider conflict across the region, U.S. officials tonight say a Navy warship in the Red Sea intercepted and shot down several missiles and drones that were launched from Yemen. CBS's David Martin reports from the Pentagon that the intended target was believed to be Israel.
The USS Carney fired the American military's first shot in what threatens to become a wider Middle East war, shooting down drones and cruise missiles fired in the direction of Israel by Iranian-backed rebels in Yemen.
USS Carney, operating in the northern Red Sea earlier today, shot down 3 land attack cruise missiles and several drones that were launched by Houthi forces in Yemen.
The Carney, which had been with the aircraft carrier Gerald R. Ford off the coast of Israel, got there just in time, passing through the Suez Canal on Wednesday and arriving in the northern Red Sea, where it had a clear shot as the drones and missiles flew north.
We cannot say for certain what these missiles and drones were targeting, but they were launched from Yemen, heading north along the Red Sea, potentially towards targets in Israel.
In the last 2 days, there has also been a series of drone attacks on American troops in Iraq and Syria, attacks which are usually the work of Iranian-backed militias. One of them turned out to be a false alarm, but resulted in the death of an American contractor who suffered a cardiac arrest. In past attacks, when an American has been killed, the U.S. has retaliated with airstrikes.
The Pentagon is considering a retaliatory strike again, but is faced with a dilemma that any military action might set off exactly what President Biden is trying to avoid, a wider Middle East war. Nora?
That's why this is significant. David Martin, thank you very much.
The Israel-Hamas war entering a new chapter. More threats are surfacing, putting the U.S. on high alert. Just moments ago, U.S. officials announced a U.S. military base in Syria was attacked by drones. They say this follows other drone attacks over the past few days against the U.S. in Iraq. We're now also seeing alleged involvement from other countries. North Korea denies arming Hamas fighters with weapons, but reports show it was North Korean missiles that misfired, causing Tuesday's deadly hospital explosion. And the Department of Defense releasing new video of more than 180 intercepts of U.S. warplanes by Chinese aircraft over the past 2 years, with military officials calling this beyond concerning. So joining us now, retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General John Teichert. John, thank you so much for being with us. First of all, today the State Department is advising U.S. citizens overseas to exercise increased caution. Should all Americans be reconsidering any international travel right now?
Nicole, I think it's important to realize that, especially in the Middle East, but stemming from the Middle East through Iran, that Iran is seeking to create unrest or provide opportunities for their proxies to attack American targets. And it is wise, especially in that region, but around the world, for Americans to be vigilant as they travel overseas, realizing that some of those malign actors, like Iran, are looking to do harm to our interests.
And I do want to talk about Iran. First, I want to touch on those drone attacks. What was your reaction to learning about them, including this latest attack that we are learning about in Syria?
I was over as a senior defense official in Iraq for 14 months in 2020 and 2021 when Iran's proxies started using unmanned systems to attack American interests in the region. And frankly, for the last 44 years, Iran has created an arc of instability throughout the Middle East: Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and Gaza. And they are finding ways to find pretexts to attack American interests, and ultimately creating instability in the Middle East that harms the population of the Middle East as much as it does American interests.
You know, and General, as you know, the president will be addressing the nation tonight. Do you think he will bring up Iran? Should he be talking about Iran?
I'm disappointed that the president thus far has not mentioned Iran in the 11 days since what is clearly an Iranian-supported attack by Hamas on Israel. I am very proud of the president for taking the time to demonstrate our unwavering support to Israel, both by his actions and by his words. But certainly we've got to realize that the malign actor that is the common denominator of problems in the region is Iran, and the president should say so.
And do you think we're going to continue to see these ramped up attacks outside of the U.S., targeting U.S. bases or equipment, whatever it happens to be?
Nicole, it's pretty clear that Iran loves finding opportunities to make excuses for attacks by their proxies. And it certainly is going to be the case as we go through the tumultuous times with Israel and Israel's ultimate self-defense against Hamas, that Iran is going to take advantage as much as they can of the situation.
And my last question for you, General, you know, we obviously have these examples of attempts to attack the U.S. abroad, but what about within our own borders? Because that potential is very real, you know, as sadly we know.
Nicole, it is very important for us to realize that unless we have strong borders, especially our southern border, which tends to be open in so many ways.